So you talked about external consumer waste you are using as a raw
You don't need a loudspeaker, I mean that's fine.
External consumer waste as a raw material, you said in one slide. Could you throw some light on it?
Okay, see that is, we started an initiative called WOW, which is waste out of waste. What we do is that we go to individual users, flat owners, societies, factories, even commercial users, where we give them a complete waste management solution. We are interested only in the paper because that is fiber for us. But we do it as an integrated solution so that the rag pickers who we work through NGOs, for them the revenue stream also comes from the plastic, it comes from the bottles, they have all the material which comes in. The paper comes to us, and it is pretty widespread in southern India. We have been very successful in Hyderabad and Bangalore. And we are expanding it to quite a lot, and I think we are annually doing around 30,000 tons of paper collection every year out of this. Yeah? You'll need the mic.
How is the green building different from other non-smoking areas?
Okay. See, you will require buildings. Say this room, this is one room in your green building, it needs to have a completely different extraction system. I mean, when you have an air conditioning system, it's a central air conditioning system, but the air from here, the exhaust, is taken out and vented completely separately. So it doesn't mix with the air from the other areas. And you actually have to, it's not a question of simply saying that you do it. You have to demonstrate it by releasing a tracer gas, which is actually traced and checked in all the other occupied areas, that there is no leakage of air from the smoking area to the other areas. But it is primarily done by ensuring that the entire volume of air is exhausted out separately. Yeah?
My question to you is, how did it manage to carry this plant ITC to other sectors like hospitality, ITC real estate, all others? How did it manage to carry this plant ITC?
Okay, this actually is a question I think our chairman should answer, but fundamentally what we do is we look at what are our strengths, what is the strengths that we have, and every business that we have ventured into. See, all of them have not been successful. There was, some of you may remember, there was something called Classic, Finance, which died. These other businesses, we have looked at our competencies. I mean, like when you're talking about making cigarettes, for example, one is the manufacturing side. The other side is the marketing side, which we are very strong. The third side, which we are very strong, is in our establishing relationship and equation at the villager level. So drawing upon these strengths, say for example, if I look at relationship at the farmer level, our agro business is based on that. Our pulp and paper business is also very strongly rests on these equations which we have with the farming community who grow our pulp. It's not our land. The land is owned by them, but they are the ones who grows the tree for us. Then sales and marketing is what we have utilized, for example, in the new, the personal care products, say Fiamma, the wheels or whatever that has come out. That is manufacturing, yes, but it is also a huge amount of marketing. So, that's the way the strategy has been worked on, because we feel we need to diversify, drawing upon our strengths.
I have one question. Do you have any dedicated team for sustainability, and how big is the team, and do you have many seniors and at senior level, and what kind of budgets also you have, whether for capital expenditure budget for this or revenue expenditure budget, and how do you evaluate the performance of some of those activities?
Okay. We have at the board level, there is a sustainability committee, that is the apex committee which oversees sustainability issues. After that, say my department looks at all sustainability issues which are related to the technology side. Also the reporting side is what our department looks at. Then there is another department who focuses on our social activities. And these are our strength areas. But the important point is that whenever any business proposal goes to our board, there is something called a central management committee, which is again the apex management committee. So suppose you're setting up a new hotel, suppose you're setting up a new paper factory, or you want to do a new business. Their business plan has to factor in these sustainability elements. That is a necessary condition. I mean, it is not only the financial numbers. You have to talk about the environmental side, so they come back to us. They have to talk about employment issues, so they have to tie up with the HR side. They have to talk about the social development side, so they go back to corporate social responsibility. So this is part of the business plan. And in terms of targets, say for issues like if you talk about how many integrated watershed programs that you will do, we have definite targets. We have a definite budget for it, which is decided at the beginning of the year and normally done on a 3-year basis. But if you tell me what is your target for reducing specific energy consumption, we don't do that. I can't get into it. It's a pressure on the business to bring it down, which we monitor and check that it is happening correctly, or if not, why is it not happening? So, you know, it's that's very roughly the way we work. The team strength, like I said, it's you know, if I look at our department, it's right now a department of 5 people at the corporate. Then you have, of course, individual at the division and unit level, but at corporate it's 5 of us, which will hopefully grow to around 8. Then corporate social responsibility would be around a team of around 25 people, because they are executing all these projects. They actually execute the projects. We don't execute projects.
Partnership with some other NGOs?
I'm sorry?
Is it in partnership with some other NGOs?
Definitely. We work only with NGOs. Because when you're talking about all the outreach programs, it's only done for NGOs. Thank you.
Big companies mostly subcontract the things, and they just give the brand name, like okay here. So, do you consider the subcontractors like preparing the sustainability report, or how do you?
See, if I understand you correctly, in our reporting boundary, our contract manufacturers are not included as of now. It does not include, and in fact that is what I would come to in the end of the presentation. Right now our focus has been within what we control, and the areas which we will be taking up, in fact have started taking up from this year, is the entire supply chain, where all this will get involved. And once we do it, obviously they come into the reporting also. See, because there is no point trying to take on everything and not being able to do it. So our focus had been initially to tidy up our own house, make sure that our house is okay before we get into that. And we understand also what we are doing. We have the technology. We see, if I go to a contract manufacturer and I tell him that you do an energy audit, he said, okay, get an energy audit done. And if it was simple as that, everybody would be doing energy audits and saving money. But the question is, who is the party who will do it, who can deliver results, where do you get the financing from? All these aspects have to be tied up. Today we know energy conservation like nobody else does. I mean, very, very confident about it. So we are going to say, for example, somebody who is doing our, atta ka chakki for our Ashirvad atta. And we are actually giving him solutions, saying that this is what you can save, this is the amount you'll have to put in, we'll help you that through the, the payments that we do, and you start implementing it. So that's the way it is. Yeah. See, we have a full-fledged R&D unit which works on these aspects. So I am not telling you that they are working on biodegradable plastics, but part of their agenda is also to address these concerns. Hopefully we will find a solution. Right now it's not in sight. But it's a valid point. I mean, it's a part of our agenda. Shall we continue? Yeah? This is what I said about our investments in renewable energy, over 30% coming from renewable, and investments which are being in line. In terms of, we are running a bit short of time, so I will skip some of this because we have addressed most of it during, whatever we've been talking. But fundamentally what we are saying is that our focus is, when you're looking at water, make sure that you get the lowest water consumption for any unit of output. Then make sure that you don't allow any water to get out of your unit, whether it is wastewater or whether it is rainwater which has fallen onto your unit, which is what we mean by a zero discharge unit. All the water which you, the waste which you generate, the effluent that you generate is treated and reused. The rainwater which is incident on your property is captured for harvesting or for reuse, as the case may be. That is by how we reduce our water footprint. And the other portion of what we do is, and this is important for the sustainable livelihoods portion of it, that in units where it is applicable, the treated water is also given to neighboring farmer communities so that their dependence on rain-fed agriculture stops. So they can actually have agriculture throughout the year. So where they were traditionally doing 2 crops a year, they do 3 crops. Yeah. Again, this is a figure which gives you a normalized picture of production versus wastewater. The brown column that you see, everything is initially we started off in 96, 99, you're putting everything as 100, 100. The production was 100 and wastewater, the water intake was also 100. You will see that by 2009-10, our production has gone threefold. That is, from 100 it has gone to 290. But our water usage has actually only gone from 100 to 179. So this is something that we are very, very proud about, and this really is data which has also been vetted and verified by the Center for Science and Environment, and we are very proud about this. This is in another mill, Triveni mill, where you look at the water usage, that is the kiloliters of water used per ton of product. Say from 98-99, it has come down from a figure of 259 to that is 117 is the last one, though it's not very clear, it is 117. So what you actually see is that by constantly monitoring, tracking your data, which is again goes back to reporting, public reporting, how we can actually achieve concrete results which are relevant for our company as well as for our country. This is the third largest plant in ITC, where similarly water usage has come down from 21 kiloliters per ton to 13.1 kiloliters per ton. And these are 3 units which between the 3 of them consume almost 85% of the total water across ITC, which is why I am sharing these figures with you.